Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been good, dude. Enjoying a very low-key lifestyle these last couple of weekends. Just relaxing at home, man. Doing nothing. No fucking complaints whatsoever. But I am excited to catch up with you, though, because I know you were just in New York / New Jersey. So how was the trip? How was the wedding? Let us know.
Yeah, it was dope overall. The wedding was more fun than we expected. I think it's mainly because we only really knew the bride and a couple of her sisters.
Okay.
So that for that reason,
was this like a close friend? Not to
yeah,
put
it's
you
a
on blast.
close childhood friend of my wife.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, the venue was nice. I think for me personally, when it comes to weddings, like the two things I kind of look forward to are, one, seeing people that like I haven't seen in a while. And then next, probably the food and the music. I think those really enhance the experience. Obviously we have this podcast, so we're super into music, but the food was phenomenal. I think it's because it took place at a restaurant.
That helps.
So man, the hors d'oeuvres were just fire.
Were they?
I don't even know what they were. It's definitely like above my pay grade in terms of all these fancy little dishes they put together, but it's always just like, steak on top of like crispy rice and whatever else. And it was just absolutely phenomenal. To the point where,
not to cut you off, but that is the new wave. I haven't had it yet. Like everything on top of crispy rice seems to be like the new trendy thing.
Yeah, it must be, and understandably so. And after eating a handful of hors d'oeuvres, it was so good. I was like, I don't even really need dinner. I don't know what dinner is. I'll just stand here and, harass these waiters and waitresses. But yeah, overall it was dope. We got to see a handful of our friends unrelated to the wedding. Outside of it. Saturday, the weather was awful. It was just cold and rainy.
Really?
The whole day. So, we did go out and eat,
explore a little bit,
a handful of things. Yeah, explored, but
and that's crazy because I spoke to my dad and he said on Sunday in New York it was fucking gorgeous. It was like 65.
Oh, Sunday was beautiful.
Okay, so you came back Monday.
Yeah, I came back Monday.
Okay, cool. So at least you had a good day
Monday
to enjoy and do shit. Okay, yeah, because I heard Sunday was like, oh, dude, go outside. It's fucking great.
No, Sunday was gorgeous. It was one of those rare days where like the people that live there were like, this hasn't happened in like 3 months. So,
yeah, dude, like my 63-year-old dad was like, yeah, I just went for a walk in the park. I was like, what?
Yeah. No, it was gorgeous on Sunday. So it was nice to have that balance. Because the day before I just kicked it at the hotel. But yeah, overall, really fun, successful trip, I'd say. More fun than I personally expected.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Was there anything you guys did as fun as far as like the sightseeing or just like bar hopping or whatever?
Honestly, yeah, I think just bar hopping and walking around. Nothing really sticks out beyond that. We've been to New York.
Yeah.
I guess
so
for me,
not like this eye-opening event for you.
Right. I think it was just cool being staying in Jersey because I hadn't stayed there before.
And you guys were in Jersey City, right?
Yeah, Jersey. I think so. We were in Newport. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not sure Newport.
It's like right on the edge of where the path basically connects the New Jersey and New York. And I didn't realize it was that easy of a trek to get from Jersey to New York.
Oh, it is very easy to do. And there's like a couple ways to do it. Like my family that lives in Jersey is like literally, you can go from my aunt's house and be in the heart of Times Square like in 25 minutes. So that's pretty wild for two states. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, Jersey City is like it's essentially like Jersey's answer to Brooklyn. Like everything's trendy, all the good bars, like shit like that. So
yeah.
Nice, man. I'm glad you guys had a good time. And dude, when a wedding's always better than expected, not that you should have low expectations for a wedding, but like, you obviously know this firsthand. You've also been to enough weddings now. I've been to enough weddings now that it's like, sometimes like these weddings end up being like really for the parents.
Yeah.
And like the bride and groom are just like props for the parents to have their friends and all this shit. And like, it doesn't become like a fun young wedding, which you think it should be every time. So if you guys actually enjoyed it, that's dope.
For sure. Yeah, it's always a concern.
And some other non-related New York trips. How's it going with the Blair Anthony projects? Any songs releasing before summer is upon us?
Yes, sir. So I just submitted my final upcoming song called "Could Be Worse." It'll be available everywhere April 20th. So I was waiting on the art to come back, and finally it came back. So yeah, it's fully submitted. Probably do some promo over the next few weeks, maybe something similar to Reload, since it seemed like a lot of people resonated with that kind of format as opposed to just, posting the song art and calling it a day. So
yeah.
We'll be doing that. And then also in the meantime, we'll try to work on my next track, which will obviously be out after that, but looking towards a May release for that one.
Okay. But Could Be Worse, a May release?
Could Be Worse will be out April 20th. And then the other one I'm working on, which is still unfinished, is called Limitless. But that one I'm thinking sometime in May. Damn, I didn't even realize the 420 release. But that's dope.
Yeah, that is dope.
Has nothing to do with smoking, but I mean,
do you know what's funny though? It's like,
it.
I'm actually intrigued, and don't tell me about the the concept of the song, but like Could Be Worse. And maybe just because like that's where like my mindset is, like think like I'm in a good mental space. But like, for example, like we went to like a work event today. That's why I'm dressed like this, by the way. And like, dude, like it was a work event. I'm like, bro, it's been a long day. I've been up since 5:45 in the morning. We've been in trainings all day. I don't really want to do this, but we got there. And bro, it's on a rooftop overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm like, life could be worse, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I'm excited for this song because like just the idea of that, I'm like, could be worse is like a phrase I feel like I've been telling myself a lot. It's like, bro, are you really complaining right now? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I mean, the song is self-explanatory. That's mainly the gist of it. So there's no like super hidden meaning or message towards it. But yeah, I think, I mean, you and I obviously a lot of times like have other stuff we're dealing with or stressed about, but it really could be worse. So figured I'd make a song about that. Kind of just randomly came to me when I was in the bathroom like a month or so ago. Like I'll listen to beats and just kind of play with ideas here and there, but a lot of the times it never leads anywhere. And this is one of the few moments where it did. And I think a lot of it also stemmed from like public criticism of Reload, actually, because I got a lot of love and then criticism as well.
Yeah. So if you had to be honest with yourself, was the pros more than the negativity, or like from what you saw?
It definitely outweighed the negativity, but I think since I saw the negativity on a public forum, like live, that fucked with me. I mean,
rightly so, bro. You're
even though I didn't think it would. Yeah.
You can't just be like fucking cold to everything, bro. Like,
right.
Yeah. You know what's funny though, man? Like I was driving, so that's why I think I was like, dude, I should not be screenshotting anything right now. But like, dude, I will say, man, like I feel like not for anything, dude, Reload probably be top 3 songs, maybe top 2 songs from you, bro. Like I really like that shit. Like,
appreciate
and that's why like the first one after Be Alright that I'll like start over before it even finishes. Like it's that good, dude. So like again, dude, it's not like, dude, like, we could fucking pull up fucking the reviews for My Dark Twisted Fantasy. There's gonna be negative comments about that shit too, right? So like once you get bigger, that's also gonna get bigger. But I would say, bro, yeah, that song is, dude, to me personally, just fire, bro. And I don't know if I told you that enough offline, so might as well tell you here. But yeah, dude, I think I was driving home over the weekend from the gym, and bro, I'm telling you, I restarted that song like twice before you even ended the song. So like, oh, bro, I thought, like, yo, I haven't done this before for a Blair song. So like, yeah, I was like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it's always tough, like, because obviously as the creator, and not only that, but the creator who's heard my songs a billion times, it's really hard to gauge, like, you know, which ones appeal to most people or which are my personal favorites. And then obviously based on my preference, I have different expectations of how people are going to receive it. Because like your favorites probably going to be different than some of my brothers versus my dad or whoever. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I know everyone, like you guys have showed me love regardless. And I'm not expecting every song to be everyone's favorite. I think it was just jarring that I heard so much positive stuff on IG and even YouTube mostly, whereas like this audience clearly
this was on the live thing you did, right?
Yeah, the live thing. And then even Ignore Me, I put on No Jumper, similar story, like very lackluster response. And it just told me like, okay, maybe this isn't my audience, because I think they really prefer the like Playboy Cardi, Lil Uzi, like rage type shit, like Perks.
Yeah, like if it's not going to be rap, they may lean towards that kind of music.
Yeah.
Because I think that when I was I was like literally like excited about how much I liked the song recently, and I was like, does this fall like under rap though? Right? Because like you do such a good job of being so melodic about it that like maybe that is what may throw someone off whose ears are just accustomed to like either it's rap or it's not. Like I don't really like this whole in between thing. So I don't know, man. Maybe that it is what it is. But to your point though, I think it definitely must be challenging for you to like try to block out the noise and keep trying to make the music that you deem worth making. But I mean, that's also probably the gift and the curse, bro. So that's why the guys who do it are like where they're at. So I feel like you guys have to stay true to yourself, bro. Because if you just start like looking at the comments, like, well, let me try this next. It's like, nah, bro. I feel like the only thing you can tweak, I think like maybe Wes said this when he's on with us, is like just tweak like how you market it, not like how you make it, right? Because I feel like what you're doing content wise is fire. It's just maybe how we get it out to the masses. That's it.
100%. Yeah, for sure. And I always just try to remind myself it could be worse. I'm like, the song was reposted by Rap Nation. I had like hundreds of positive comments.
Yeah, they don't have
this there to complain about. Like, why should I worry about what some fucking 12-year-old in Milwaukee is saying about the song?
Yeah. And I think Blair meant Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Clearly haven't heard that. I don't even know where the fuck it is on the map. I don't even know if it's a state or not. I feel embarrassed about that.
It's in Wisconsin.
It's Wisconsin word.
I only know this because of sports teams. So fuck Milwaukee. That place too. All right, bet. Let's get into it. Episode 137. Episode 136 is up. Appreciate the love on IG and on Spotify. We have actually more subscribers on Spotify than I even realized. So kudos to you guys listening on that platform. Dude, let's start off with actually a topic that I know we did maybe 100 episodes ago, but it's back in the news, which just a testament to how slow the news cycle is because there's no good music out. So Logic is getting some flack. I guess on an IG live recently, he was using the N-word in certain kind of context, and like people just don't like that.
I think he did, but I think it was more so him saying it in that Ice Cube Good Day cover,
which also had people losing their minds about whatever. But
yeah.
So I guess Logic got some backlash on the internet over him just using that phrase. Let's get into it, man. So your thoughts on people just not being okay with a biracial man using that word? Like it's just weird to me that we're here when we make so many other exceptions for the same exact situation.
Yeah, this is always a funny, tricky conversation just because, I mean, at the end of the day, like the N-word pass, it can't be given to someone and permanently given to someone, and everyone feels so differently about it. But I found this situation interesting just because, I mean, he's biracial. So, you know, in the case of J. Cole and Drake, you would think Logic should be perfectly fine using the term and not getting backlash. But clearly it shows that if you are white passing, I guess people don't feel like you've earned that privilege to use the word because you have privilege based on your skin tone, regardless
like you had a different upbringing, even if you lived in the same neighborhood or some shit.
Right. And to my knowledge, Logic comes from the hood. I mean, he raps about it, and you would think that would kind of give him a pass. But I guess since society just views him as a white man, like they don't feel comfortable giving him that pass regardless. You know, people always want to say, oh, okay, this dude's like, he's black enough, he's one of us, therefore we'll give him the pass, even if he's not black. And I think that's kind of how it tends to work. I think white people in general just like absolutely don't really get the pass under any circumstances, maybe in their tiny little local hood, but not on
local
a grand
hood
scale.
where it's like the one black guy in the neighborhood's like, yeah, if I give you guys a pass, maybe you'll let me alone, like kind of a thing. Like it's not like, I get what you're saying. But like if you're blonde, blue eyes, there's no pass in any hood. So you as a black man, like how do you feel about it like in 2023, right? Because you made a great point, right? You can't just give someone, if they have a pass, a permanent pass, because dude, times change, right? Like what was going down 100 years ago is not okay today. So you as a black man in 2023, when you hear a Logic using that phrase or just saying maybe I should be allowed to use it, like how do you feel?
I think he should be allowed to use it. I mean, I will admit it seems weird just because I don't hear it in his music like ever. And then on top of that, when you add the white passing factor, it almost seems like he's making it taboo in a way, because it's like you don't use it really in your music and you're white passing, and then all of a sudden like you're using it playfully. So it just kind of seems weird in that sense. So I mean, I definitely think he has every right to say it, but at the same time, clearly other people think differently. I think it's more murky when people don't identify as black, where it becomes tricky. And I don't know if he identifies as black or biracial, but I
think biracial. I think he uses that card. Again, I'm not the biggest Logic fan, but I feel like that is a card he likes to pull out. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's the card the flag that he puts in the stand. Like, I'm a biracial man.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that aspect of if you identify as black can play a role into whether other people will accept you or not. Because I think like J-Lo and Fat Joe and some other people kind of have dealt with that sort of backlash in the past. And I know New York operates like differently, which is something my wife actually asked. She's like, why can Dominicans and Puerto Ricans say it? And like it felt weird trying to explain it to her, because there's no like on like Wikipedia page that tells me this shit, right? I don't know if you want to give your because you grew up in New York, you obviously know what the scene is like for what reason is it acceptable, and how do other people react if someone's not like black passing or if they're white passing?
Yeah, dude, that's a great question. So I would say this in New York. Again, I don't want to echo anything Fat Joe, because again, I'm not really the biggest Fat Joe fan, but I do agree with the sense that he's made this comment in the past. Like, bro, in New York, we were all together, bro. Like every kind of black, every kind of Hispanic, like we grew up together. Like, I'm just going from my bubble in the Bronx. Like we were all one, right? And it's also tough to check the guy who may be fairer skinned than Logic, but I know his cousin who also lives in his house is darker than DMX. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, dude, like we all grew up like Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and I guess some Cubans as well. Like, dude, it's so ambiguous, bro. Like, dude, like the darkest guy in the neighborhood could have the whitest mom. And I'm just like, I don't know, like whatever, dude. Like it works for me, man. Like if you want to say it, say it. So it was just tough, man. Cause like, it was just so ambiguous. Like in one household, dude, the spectrum of what people look like again, like for example, I remember my mom checked her brother, rest her soul, because he wanted to use the word. And then she was like, you can't, right? She said this to him. Like, she's like a 47-year-old woman telling a 43-year-old man, you cannot use this word. And then he was like, but DJ uses it. It's like, yeah, but he doesn't look like you. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's just different, bro. Like, I don't know. Like New York. Yeah, New York kind of just makes you aware of like your surroundings. And I feel like, but if you're so secure in that surrounding that could be deemed dangerous, you feel even more secure when you leave it. You know what I mean? That's why when I moved to Miami when I met you for the first time, right? Like I didn't come with any kind of trepidation or insecurities. I'm like, bro, this is who I am. And if that's an issue, then we can talk about it. Like not in an obviously confrontational way, but like, check me if you need to. But like, I'm just coming like, yo, this is who I am. This is how I am. Like, I don't need to give you a backstory. I think as you know me for a while, you'll know, where I'm coming from right now, like in a pandering kind of way. So yeah, man, it's just different in New York, bro. And I think what makes it also challenging for Logic is that like, I don't know what it means to move like a white man, whatever. But dude, when your ex-fiance is Jerry Seinfeld's daughter, everything we see about you is LA and Hollywood almost a little bit. I'm like, bro, like, Yeah, it feels kind of weird. It feels a little bit off. Like just something is like, I guess you can say like if you feel like it's that necessary, but it also doesn't feel like genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think ultimately it boils down to the whole "are you one of us" factor.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, obviously you can't be like so white passing to the point you could slip into a different community undetected. But it also made me think of like other people who are not Dominican, Puerto Rican, but maybe darker skin, like a Nav or Stupid Young. And Nav
but they got his ass checked though,
immediately.
Right? Yeah,
Stupid Young didn't. So now I'm like, there's a hood element where people are either too afraid to check, or they're like, he's basically gang banged his way into snatching the pass and just holding it aggressively.
Yo, but Cali got checked. DJ Khaled got checked.
Khaled got checked.
Yeah, because when he first came out, he called himself like the hood N-word. No, the sand N-word.
Okay.
And then he kept saying it on some tracks, even going into like recently, like 4 or 5 years ago. But then there was like a hard, I'm not saying it anymore, because like, I think also, dude, when you become so famous, right? Now like white America is like, what the fuck? How is this okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not even like the people who should be offended. It's everyone else, and you're like, well, I'm not trying to fuck up my check, so let me just stop this right now, kind of a thing.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good point, because the fame level definitely plays
a factor. It has to play a part, bro. Because like even J-Lo stopped using it when she got the backlash with the Ja Rule song, because bro, her entire career was like this. And again, I'm telling you, as someone who was still living in the Bronx didn't have an issue with that statement. It was Hollywood that was like, yo, you're not black, you cannot do that.
Right. Now, are you familiar with Stupid Young?
I am not.
The Asian rapper. So he's basically a Cambodian rapper who's Crip affiliated. Okay. Definitely huge in California. Outside of California, probably not so much. But he says the N-word all the time, like every song, basically.
And he passed as an Asian man.
Yeah, he's clearly Asian. I mean, he's darker skin, but he's clearly Asian.
Okay.
But he's like done plenty of songs with other rappers, most of who are gang affiliated, black. They say the N-word too. I'm sure there's probably like intermingling of races within the gang. So he hasn't gotten checked, but you brought up a good point with Khaled and J-Lo. I wonder if he just hasn't propelled to
he's not that big.
That level. Because like pretty much the only people that listen to him like gang bang rap, and he doesn't have some commercial hit, pop hit that's playing everywhere.
Yeah. No, dude. Yeah, no, I think it's that, dude. I think it's level of fame, right? You know what's funny? I actually had this thought about like the using that word. So remember that like the Hispanic rapper that I mentioned for the past couple of weeks during Heat of the Week? Find this dude's name before I butcher it, bro. Like, yeah, he's not a household name, so it even throws me off sometimes.
Starts with the E, right?
Eladio Carreon. So Puerto Rican, I think fully Puerto Rican, but Afro Puerto Rican, bro. Like dark, right? But looks more Indian than anything, right? Because he's just like, you know, like whatever, light features. But dude, he has a bunch of songs with rappers, and like no one's checking him. You know what I mean? So I just think it's like, again, like, dude, if you're around that, if you grew up in that area and you just, you kind of look like the rest of us, like, bro, like, why do I give a fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think people don't care at this point most of the time. Yeah, I do think it is kind of strange if he didn't grow up saying it, because then it's like similar to what you were saying about I don't know if I necessarily believe certain rappers. It would seem like maybe he's just saying it just because he knows 50 Cent and whoever else are saying it, and that's why he's just throwing it in there. But I mean, who am I to judge? I know, like, I always hear Jaden Smith, you know, saying it, and in my head I'm like, I wonder if he grew up saying it, and odds are probably not, but
probably not.
I feel like people don't find it that odd.
Yeah, don't find it odd, because it's also like, I think the basic mind of, you just see a black kid rapping, they drop that word, you're not even thinking twice about it.
Yeah.
Like that's
plus really that word has become like synonymous with bruh basically at this point.
Yeah, for sure. But I do think if we had to put on a scale, I don't know, not a scale, but like, bro, that word is being used less though in 2023 than it was, like, I would say like 5-10 years ago. Like, I think there were a lot of people who were maybe like borderline, who knew they shouldn't be using it, but felt comfortable. I feel like in 2023, they're like, bro, I just cannot take this risk. You know what I mean? Like, think back to like Rolling Loud when we like Freaky Friday. Remember with Chris Brown and Lil Dicky?
Yeah.
Bro, everybody, any color under the rainbow was ready for that fucking line. I don't think they're doing that in 2023.
No, definitely. I have friends who we used to use it in high school, and they definitely weren't black. But at the time, like, I didn't really think much of it, but they've definitely stopped using it.
Yeah, they just know, bro. Like, again,
no one wants to be canceled, or
no one wants to be canceled.
And
I don't know if you felt this way, if you feel this way in your corporate experience now, you know, going on 10 plus years of working. But like, for example, like we're doing like a leadership training right now, and it's all about total leadership, right? And the concept is that you need to be your most authentic self in every aspect of your life, right? So I think, like, to your point, like, even if you grew up saying certain things, if you know you're gonna get fired saying it at work, I think you know, like, all right, man, like that's not me then. You know what I mean? Because I feel like at work you should be as close to your authentic self, right? You're not gonna obviously start cursing someone out or something random, but you shouldn't be like, bro, if I say this word, I'm probably getting fired, right? Like, if you have that thought, you should probably stop saying the word.
Yeah. No, so I definitely agree with that.
So I just feel like, I feel like 10 years ago, bro, like, no brainer. Today, nah. But again, I mean, I personally don't give a fuck about the whole Logic situation. But again, I think he is famous enough that if he's getting enough backlash, that also might be something that he should understand. Like, bro, maybe you never say to any of your rap songs, like, why do it now?
Yeah, I don't care if he says it either. I also don't want him to do things that are going to look corny as a way to prove that he's black enough. But I get it. Like, I mean, my brothers talked about struggles of being biracial. Like, you're not, you know, black enough or whatever for this group, but then you're too black for that group and this and that. And like, society just makes up their mind on who you are. It doesn't matter if you're 20% this, 40% that. Like, society's like, you look like this, fuck it, that's what you are, and you have to follow that whole profile of XYZ race, and you can't do shit about it. I imagine that must be super frustrating.
Yeah, especially when he sees two artists who are on the Mount Rushmore of modern hip hop who are exactly the same dynamic as him, but just look different. You know what I mean? That has to kill you, dog. You're like, bro, you fucking kidding me with this shit?
Like, Drake and J. Cole literally, like,
the same
use the word thing all the time, same profile, everything. That has to be tough, dude. You're like, oh, because he has dreads and this guy has a tan? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, no, he's got to, like, do what Drake's doing, like, get cornrows.
Yeah, dude.
Get a gold grill. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because that's a really good point, though, because it must be frustrating when society is telling you, no, you can't be that. You're like, bro, how the fuck then can they do it, right? Not to compare yourself to other people, because that's like gonna steal all your joy. But yeah, that has to be tough. You're like, bro, they're the same thing as me. Like, white mom, black dad. That's what I am. Like, how is this not okay? But it is what it is. He'll figure it out. But I am excited to see the comments on this clip, because I vividly remember when we had this conversation a year ago, or whatever the fuck this happened again, the one comment that stood out to me was, well, neither of you are black, so we don't give a fuck. I was like, really?
That's what's so crazy to me. Like, I mean, I don't really care, because that's what I've been called my whole life by most people, but that it is hilarious. It proves that people just look at you and they're like, you're this, you're not anything else.
Yo, I was like, okay, all right, we know nothing. All right, moving along then. All right, the other topic I wanted to get into, which is music related, thank God, and we did have some new music come out this past weekend. Surfer Drown by Hit Boy. I believe it was like, 21 tracks. He actually included like 7 instrumentals, which was interesting. I guess just trying to show off his production chops. So before we get into anything else, I wanted to talk about the album, but what was your, after listening to it, like, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. The there weren't quite as many like bangers as I had anticipated. But I really think it was him just kind of talking his talk and just reminiscing on the fact that he's come a long way and he's that it guy as far as production goes, and he was doing a lot of the rapping on the album.
Yeah, it was like 80%.
Which is pretty rare for a producer who raps to be doing. But overall, I thought the vibe was dope. There's a handful of replays from it. Not sure if I needed all the instrumentals at the end of it, but I think it's a dope.
Yo, dude, I was strategy. I thought the album repeated itself, and I'm like, yo, where are the lyrics? Like, what happened?
I mean, to be fair, Alchemist, maybe he took a page out of Alchemist's book, because Alchemist definitely released an album a long time ago called like Rapper's Best Friend or something, and it was just like a compilation of beats. So maybe that's what he was trying to get at.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it was a great body of work. I'm not sure if years from now I'll necessarily be looking back on it as like one of the greats of 2023, but definitely a solid body of work.
Okay, so great and solid are on different spectrums, my guy. So if you had to give it like a number out of 10, what are you leaning towards?
I'd say 7.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm not trying to, but like, great and solid. Like LeBron is great. The guy down the street's a solid player. You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to say. But
okay.
So
he is great loosely.
Creed, 10 out of 10. Well, actually, I meant 6, but this is why. No, but I agree. So I think the album, because one of my boys asked me, because I told him to listen to it, I think it's a solid body of work, right? So I appreciate the risk. I mean, maybe no risk, because this guy's literally the biggest producer in hip hop, or one of the top 2 or whatever right now. So, but I appreciate the risk in him putting himself out there and being the person going bar for bar on all these tracks, right? Like, and he has a couple songs with Nas, and I think it was dope to hear Currency. I haven't heard Currency in a fucking long ass time, so that was dope.
Same.
So yeah, it was an enjoyable body of work. Like, honestly, I kept thinking something. I agree with you, no bangers. Something you just get high to, like just vibe out to, bro. Like, it's just like almost like a playlist. Just like, you're not really trying to hear anything, because like, what is Hit Boy really gonna tell you with like double entendres or something, right? It's just like very simple raps over very high quality production. And yeah, that's a solid thing, right? Like, it's nothing phenomenal. It was good to me. It was good. So I would say 7.5 at the max. But that being said, now that he is in some of these tracks going at different artists or different producers, right? So bringing on that comparison, I think it's only fair that we compare them bodies of work, right? So comparing Surfer Drown to Metro Boomin's latest album, Hero and Villains, which one do you prefer as far as like being better than the other?
Yeah, so this is where it got tricky for me. I went back and listened to Metro Boomin's what is it, Heroes versus Villains?
Heroes and Villains.
Heroes and Villains again. And not only did it have way more songs, but it was like a star-studded lineup. And then on top of that, like 2 of my favorite artists right now, Don Toliver and Travis Scott, are on damn near every song.
Bro, that was it. Dude, because I re-listened to the album only because of this album, Surfer Drown, and I was like, yo, I forgot that he had like 5 like Travis features, bro. Like,
yeah. So for me, I'm like, and I really love the melodic trap style hip hop. So to your point, the Hit Boy album felt more like a playlist that I would, ride to in my car or whatever, kind of casually listening to it. Whereas the Metro album is something that like I would, bump and just really enjoy and try to amp me up with. So I think that's why it was really hard for me to compare the 2. It almost felt like trying to compare Certified Lover Boy with Donda in a way. Maybe not the exact comparison, but for me, just my taste and the lineup and everything, I'd have to give Heroes and Villains the edge.
Yeah, and I mean, for me personally, like it's not, for me personally, it's not close. And again, I would never compare these albums either. That's the thing. But I feel like when you're gonna diss the guy who just came out with a star-studded, but fuck the stars, bro. Like, just dude, Heroes and Villains is like a cinematic production quality, bro. Like that shit is like a movie. Like I feel like when I'm at the gym hearing this shit, like I'm visualizing like all these things happening in my mind, right? So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just think there's no comparison, and that's the risk you take when one, you compare yourself to anybody else, right? Because you're gonna make us now compare it. But obviously we're talking about it. So I'm sure this is also in his benefit. And then again, dude, when you're the main lyricist on your and you're not a rapper, bro, like this just seemed like a fun project for you.
Yeah.
So like it's tough that you're gonna drop a great diss record and it's fun for us to listen to. But when the rest of the album's like, bro, this could just be one big song to me, really, because like nothing here stands out, bro. Like, oh yeah, Nas, that's cool. Oh, Currency, that's cool. Oh, the Alchemist thing was dope. That's 3 moments, bro, for a 21 track album. Like, bro, like it's just again, I would never compare as well. I love Hit Boy. I love what he's doing for hip hop and music in general right now. But it's tough when you just diss this guy and you're like, bro, like your shit doesn't hold any weight towards his latest project.
Yeah. And that's the thing is listening to the Hit Boy album, I didn't get the sense he was trying to, make a wave or put a dent in the game and be like, I'm here. Like,
yeah, but also I don't think his flow would ever, even if he has ghost, I don't think his flow would ever allow him to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to get that energy out of him when like, this is not what you do. And it's okay. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
yeah.
We've had a few songs where you and I are like, bro, like, damn, like that shit just flowed nicely. Right. But dude, for 17 tracks of you rapping, like, bro, like you're not going to move a lot of people when it's just like you, the focal point.
Yeah. He's definitely a Currency style rapper where you're not going to him for that crazy energy. Like you want to vibe out to it. Whereas Metro definitely, I mean, this is just my personal preference, but I prefer to listen to bangers and maybe Hit Boy's bangers. I would have to see what his top 5 are versus Metro's top 5 selling songs. But like,
I mean, he has them. It's just, his bangers don't have him on it.
Right. And that's why it's so hard to compare.
He has so many of them, but it's just like, bro, like your banger would never be you rapping on it though, bro. And that's okay. Like, dude, I don't go to Hit Boy for fucking lyrics. I go to Hit Boy for like quality production. Right.
And that's why I think it would be interesting to see if, like, to get a true test of who's the better producer is, select, I don't know, like a diverse, like the most diverse top 5 artists or whatever, and have both of them just, go into their little dungeons and make beats and work with these individuals and see who makes the best, like 4 or 5 song EP.
Okay.
That would be interesting to see.
That would be interesting because I feel like just like from a like sonic point of view, I feel like Hit Boy is the kind of producer. Let me know when you listen to these guys, what do you think? But like, I feel like Hit Boy is a producer who will study you and make things that make sense to get the best out of you. And I think Metro is just so talented in what he does that the artists are like, bro, I got to figure out a way to make my voice work with this beat.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it.
So that would be interesting though. Again, and both fucking clearly work very well. But yeah, I think as far like to what you said though, I feel like Hit Boy will get the best out of an artist. Whereas I don't know if everyone, which is probably why he had a couple artists on that album so many times, Metro, because I don't think everyone can just hop on a Metro Boomin track.
No. I do wish there was a bit more variety on, well, I guess both, but considering Metro had more tracks, especially without the instrumentals, I was hoping every song wouldn't be like either Travis or Don Toliver or Future, because those guys, I mean, they are the melodic trap dudes, and that's kind of what Metro Boomin specializes in. It would have been more interesting if he had a couple like random picks on the album.
But again, I think he knows the formula, bro, and like fucking it's a cheat code though, bro, because it also like I forgot to like in the midst of listening to it, I was like, oh fuck, this ASAP Rocky's on like 2 of these songs too. So I was just like, bro, like this fucking guy has Morgan Freeman, ASAP, Don Toliver, Gunna, Young Thug, Future, Travis Scott. I'm like, bro.
No, that song was like a perfect example of, I guess, being experimental. Like I don't think I've ever heard Takeoff on a beat like that.
Oh, bro, that shit made me sad. I forgot about that song.
Yeah.
That song made me really sad. Eddie had John Legend on the intro. Like, yeah, no, it's just again, that's just so cinematic. Whereas, like, again, like if you're into just laid back, yeah, like I would imagine Hit Boy's laid back. You're cruising, you got a little bit of weed in your system, and it's just like, all right, bro, it's all good. But but definitely go peep the album if you haven't yet. It's still a good listen, a solid listen, which is what Audio Theory is saying. So, next topic, we'll do one more before Heat of the Week. Do you want to do our boy Kanye, Soulja Boy, or our 50th Jack Harlow take of the year?
Let's do Soulja Boy.
Okay,
that one was funny.
Yeah, very funny. So Soulja Boy is in the news, the first rapper to do everything. So recently in Miami spring break, a reporter, and I use that term loosely, was asking individuals on the beach, would you rather have a dinner with Soulja Boy or $250 in food stamps? And at least the people he posted, everyone said food stamps, bro. Not one person said Soulja Boy. One woman went as far to say, I haven't heard Soulja Boy since 2007. I need the food stamps. So Soulja Boy responded in true Soulja Boy fashion, shitted on everyone, bro. Like, I don't think he was wrong in some of his, like, comments about these individuals there, because they look like a little bit like, sketchy, but it was aggressive. But just the idea, man, for you today, if someone offered you $250 or hanging out with Soulja Boy over a dinner, which are you doing?
I mean, for me, it would be a no-brainer. I definitely hang out for dinner. But I mean, maybe I'm biased. I don't need the $250 that bad versus the pros of potentially, I don't know, getting him on the podcast, doing a song with him, like him introducing me to someone else. To me, like $250 is not worth passing that up. And in that instance, like very rarely would I have the opportunity to have dinner with someone with as big of a following as him, who's had like a 20-year career at this point.
Yeah, dude, like he came out like 06, 07. So yeah, coming, God willing, coming upon that. Yeah.
So to me, the $250 really isn't gonna, change my life or even my week.
Yeah. That's like a bar tab in San Francisco, essentially.
Yeah, basically. Ooh, I get like 3 fucking espresso martinis for that much.
Yeah, which is the sad part, bro. That's a conversation for another day. I would say, I would also go with Soulja the dinner, bro. I would rather hang out with Soulja Boy for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like this guy, I mean, I know he says it to be like, funny, but he really is like a lot of the shit we see in hip hop wouldn't exist without Soulja Boy, right? So I would love to just like pick his brain. It's like, bro, does that like you just like thinking of a million things and doing all of them, and like if one hits, it's great? Or are you like properly like, no, bro, if I do this, I know this is gonna happen, then that's gonna happen. Like, I would just love to understand how his brain works. Because again, I feel like it's very comedic at times, but bro, you don't have the level of longevity and success that he has if you aren't very smart about what you're doing. So I would love to know more about that. So I would pass on the 252, which again, and I think he knows how smart he is, which is why he was probably so fucking offended that no one wanted to have fucking dinner with him.
Also 250, I mean, like obviously, a lot of America, is living paycheck to paycheck and stuff. So I can understand how 250 is nothing to, smirk at, but at the same time, I'm sure that to someone like him who has as much money as him, 250 he's wiping his ass with, and he's basically hearing people say like, yo, you're not worth any of my time.
And dude, I think what also is more insulting is that they add the food stamps element to it. Like, it's not like $250. It's like, bro, here's $250 in food stamps. Yeah. Only this. Like, you can't go buy Jordans, you can't go out clubbing, just this. And they're like, I prefer that. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, the food stamps definitely adds some burn to it.
Yeah, a level of disrespect that I'm sure he felt. So who would be someone that you try to think of, like someone we can both say that we're like, nah, well, I'll take the money. Say same amount, $250. Would you take $250 in food stamps or have dinner with Glorilla?
I mean, I don't even really know how food stamps work, to be honest. But if it was just cash,
Just $250. Just
$250. Glorilla. I mean, even then, I'd still try to like finesse an opportunity out of it. Like, even if it is something like an interview for the podcast or just some game, like I feel like the 250 might be worth it. I think if I'm gonna say no, it'd have to be like one of these like brain dead mumble rappers where like I have no.
Oh, like a drill rapper, like, right?
Just like a drill rapper who I know is not gonna want to talk or like get me fucking caught up.
Oh, like like the worst fucking interview, like the worst interview. Yeah.
Like I've seen some interviews where I'm like, this is so painful. Like I would just get up and walk away. Like they're not worth my time.
Yeah,
I don't care how many
sure.
followers you have.
For sure. That's why I think. I know we're gonna bring back interviews over time, but that's why I think was the most impressive thing about us doing interviews, like how good of an interview they. As far as like the person we were interviewing was very engaging, right? It wasn't just like, yeah, I love doing this. It's like, all right, bro, like I can't do 45 minutes of this stuff, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I agree with that. Yeah, it would have to be some drill rapper or just some like TikTok-y bullshit that I'm like, bro, you know you're not really talented, right? Like you're fully aware of this. So yeah, I agree. But yeah, I get why Soulja Boy went off, bro, because that's highly disrespectful of someone who's done so much for hip hop. Even though, again, I know he's a comedic and he's like, you know, and sometimes you're like, bro, like there's no way you believe what the fuck you're saying. Like with the whole like Young Dolph thing with him, like that still rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, bro, this guy just died. Like, bro, just fall back a little bit.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I don't think you can discredit all the things Soulja Boy did for hip hop. So I would definitely take the Soulja Boy dinner.
Yeah, same.
Cool. All right, man. Before we get out of here for episode 137, it could have been a banger you had at the wedding or on the flight over. What is your heat of the week, my dude?
Back at it with an old selection. This one I sent to you, but Jaden Smith, Batman.
Oh wow, classic.
Not too sure why I went to that song, but
was this at the wedding?
No, if it was, that'd be insane. That would be the greatest wedding ever. But I don't know. The song was just kind of playing in my head the other day, and went back and watched the video, and I don't know. I was just really impressed once again by Jaden Smith.
Yeah, but that era of Jaden Smith, though.
That era of Jaden Smith, for sure.
Because there was a 4-year window this motherfucker could not miss. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what's happening. Again, I don't want to judge someone as they evolve, right? Like, because maybe people fuck with this even more now. But, bro, I can't get through any of his new shit.
Yeah, I would have to re-listen to his new stuff, but I definitely think his older stuff was back-to-back fire. The visuals as well. Granted, he comes from a family that is very well versed in how to make, you know, good movies and whatever what have you.
Yeah, the visuals you're right, because I think there's the visuals for 90, his song 90. That's like, yo, that's a little 5-minute movie, to be honest.
Yeah, and here's where like marketing and branding and all that stuff comes in and is really powerful. Just the whole like sunset pink and purple and orange aesthetic, like clearly that's his signature thing, and like subconsciously it just makes everything feel cohesive, and like I just think that it's all dope.
But cohesive because he's also not like rapping crazy over it. Like it goes with the very melodic, mellow. He finds moments to up the pitch, but it still stays in that very serene, again, like what you would listen to when you're vibing with a glass of wine, weed in your hand, and the sun is setting. You know what I mean? So, no, dude, I'm telling you, man, Sire, and then Sire in reverse, whatever the fuck that's part 2 was.
Aries or whatever.
Aries, yeah. And then he had a mixtape in between that. Bro, like those 3 albums were insane. When he went to this whole like cozy tape part 15, I was like, bro, you lost me with this shit.
Yeah, that song's absolute banger. Love that one. And I had it on repeat all weekend.
Oh, nice, dude. Yeah, that's funny too, because that's like the more popular of his songs. So usually like we like the B-list stuff. So but no, Batman's cool. I mean, we saw him when he performed that song with his dad. That was fucking a moment for us.
Yeah.
So nice. So I already added to the playlist for me. I actually have it up on the TV behind me. For whatever reason this morning, I woke up and I was like, bro, like, I gotta give Honestly Nevermind some more spins. Not because I think it's a great album when it came out, but I'm like, yo, I haven't heard it enough recently. So I put it on, bro. Sticky to me is just like, bro, that's gonna be on every playlist leading up to my wedding, by the way. Like,
nice.
Bro, like it's just so good, bro. And like the little 3-second Virgil skit, like when he's like, what do you think? We're not gonna do something fucking great? Like, bro, like that to me is just like, bro, like, because I feel like that's like Drake saying, like, bro, you think I'm gonna do the same shit over and over? I gotta mix it up a little bit, right? So yeah, man, Sticky. But honestly, the first 10 songs, bro, like the last 3 songs before Jimmy Cooks, like for me were throwaways, like listening again. But bro, the first like 8 to 9 songs of this album and this album is fire, bro. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if a lot of people are still checking for it, because again, we got Her Lost like a week afterwards. But Honestly Nevermind, bro. Go peep that again, but definitely listen to Sticky on the playlist.
For sure. No, that one's definitely a banger. And I really can't wait to hear Jimmy Cooks live, because that song is just crazy.
Yeah, that one gives me like the energy from like Niggas in Paris. Like, I don't know if I told you when I saw that concert, like they did that song like 8 times in a row. Like I could see them doing Jimmy Cooks like 3 or 4 times in a row. Like just fucking running back. Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at all.
Yeah, because that production quality is fire. I would love if Drake would be vulnerable enough to be like in the next like 3 or 4 years though, dude, to be honest with his fans and like let us know that this was never a trilogy. And like we just made that shit up in our heads. You know what I mean? Because remember that was like a theme? Like, oh, this is like 3 albums, and it's like, no, bro. Like I think he panicked because Certified Lover Boy flopped, and he's like, well, let me do this. And it's like, oh, but they don't all love this, so let me just, you know what I mean? But because I was thinking about that going through the album, I'm like, bro, there is no fucking way this is part 2 to CLB. You know what I mean?
There's definitely some fan theory shit.
Yeah, we don't go by that over here. But all right, my guy, let the people know what we got going on. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Check us out at audio-theory.com. New episode every week on all platforms. We have the Spotify and Apple Music playlists on there as well. So peep that. Get you some merch as well, especially before winter's over. You can rock it any time of year. Super comfortable. But other than that, please like, subscribe, share, and tune in.
Yep. Keep commenting. We appreciate y'all. Love you, my dude. We'll talk soon.
Love you too.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.